Then we go to Zach Fuller, Tarbin Walker. The difference with the series that we've got is that they're dropping around. Now, for people like young Clark Fountain, who is too young to race at Wanganui, well, that's going to be the round that he drops, so all of the points will be counting as the 150s get away, the Gixers.
And it looks like Tarbin Walker's going to lead them into turn 1, but there was a pretty good start coming there from row number 2, Shane Miller and Blake Ross, so we'll watch with them as they work down this long back straight here at Hampton Downs, and they reach terminal velocity pretty quickly, these little 150s, so you're going to see like you see in truck racing, they get to terminal velocity and then they're going to stop. Well, they're not going to stop, but they're punching a huge big hole in the air, and that's what we see as they head down into the Foster's turn.
And of course, they're followed by the Honda Cars supported Civic, the fantastic RS Civic. What a great machine this is, and this is something that we've learnt from what the rest of the world does, and the famous Tim Gibbs series proved it as well. Put a safety vehicle with the medics on board with them right behind them on that opening lap, and should there be any incidences, they're quickly there. So thanks to Honda Cars and the fabulous Civic RS. What a great little machine on board, and quality to see when you see a good car and supporting the event, and our quality riders, Tarbin, Thomas, Zach, they've got the charge on at the moment. Look at all these, of course. When you get this close racing, it's good to watch, and they'll come down and towards that Porsche dipper. Always an opportunity to see how they go for that next part of the track. Of course, you've also got the double B that is the part of where the new track joins on the old. It is, of course, a slight change as well. They come up to a bit of a climb to then go on a flat part of the track, so the corner just doesn't carry on, because we still are going to use the short track when it comes to other events, so we're not going to modify the other short track just to suit the addition of the international circuit. So the point where they join is a slight edge of a camber coming up to then a flatter track. I'm sure it'll catch a few of them out, but it's all part of the learnings of this brand new circuit, and great to see. So here we are, Tarbin, Thomas, Zach in there as well. Shane Miller, of course. Shane's a new one to join our field, so hasn't got any points in the series going forward. Doesn't matter, can still come in at this late stage and enjoy this great racing, along with Blake Ross. Now, somebody like Blake, he's been a front runner of the series, back in about 5th place there at the moment, so hoping he can make the pounce and get the slipstream and get up to join us as we head round the Dale ITM Pirelli corner and come up the front straight for the first time, and looking for the swarm, as I call it, Phil, because you watch when they're all coming up here at this stage, everybody that's looking on this side is eyes left, on the other side you're all eyes right. As we come up, see that, look at your first frame in this fight, right there, what is that?
There's a fair bit of drafting going on there, and I'll tell you what, as Thomas Newton is credited with the lead as they go across the first lap. But I mentioned before, it's a little bit like Formula First racing. The last thing you want to do in Formula First is be in the front with 2 to go, because you're going to get swamped, and you're going to see that here in the Gixer Cup as well. Look, we've been promising you that Levi Sherwood and the team will be out with the freestyle motocross. Unfortunately, the weather has got the better of them. But here's something. They're not going to just abandon things. They're going to hold it back till around about 4:30. Hopefully the winds drop down a little bit. But even if it hasn't, they're going to have something pretty special here in place. And Levi will be there to interact with the crowd and all the rest of it. But they're going to do, I don't know if you've seen this, Neil, but at Supercrosses in America now, they have that Harley-Davidson stunt team. And Brad Lackey's son, Brad Lackey, the 92 World Motocross Champion, his son is really good at doing big wheelies in Harley-Davidsons. Well, guess what? We've got a Harley-Davidson stunt rider here, and he's going to be doing some burnouts and some stoppies and things on the skid pan if we can't get the freestyle motocross up and underway.
Good, so worthwhile staying around. We're going to be still be racing about that time, folks, and it's almost Legends dinner time, but it doesn't matter. There's more time for you to be entertained with some great motorcycle sport, all happening here as part of Mike Perro Real Estate and Moto Fest, as we look for another swarm, watching the coverage of these guys, and it's still that same 5. Has there been a change? Although Thomas Newton was credited with the position as they went across the line here last time, I thought it was Blake Ross that was on the outside, 0.062 behind, but I think he made the pounce. And look at that from Shane Miller. Shane's a brand new newbie with us as far as the championship is concerned, and he's one to potentially come up and claim some glory in this group at the moment. So the man from Sanson, courtesy Ford and Phil Turnbull. Now, Phil Turnbull was a legend. Well, exactly. Phil Turnbull was a spectator with us at the Suzuki Series round number 2, and he said to me as he went away from that event, he said, I've watched this, I want to get a kid on that bike. So there you go. Phil's kept his word for that. That's exactly what he said. And there's the young man, Shane Miller, out of Sanson in the Manawatu 2, the home of Jason McEwen. So it's not bad for a little town, Sanson, there on the corner of State Highway 1 and 3 in the Manawatu 2. So Shane Miller, a newbie to join us up here now. Good work.
Have a look at this as they come over the top of the hill, folks. There'll be 5 of them together, and I mean together. You could put a pretty decent-sized blanket over. Look at this drafting first as they work their way across the stripe again. Will it be the 31 of Tarbin Walker? Has he got the run? No, he hasn't. But look at this. They close in on them, the off-camber turn number 1. The positions will change just a little wee bit, I would think. Once again, Blake Ross this time from Pyro. goes across the stripe in the first place. Newton goes back to second, then it's Miller, then it is Fuller, and that's the way the 5 of them will head down the big front straight.
More importantly, Tarbin Walker's gone from second to
back, yeah.
Always shut. So exactly what you said, when you're at the front of that group, you're losing it. And the next group's headed by Jesse Stroud, and then there's young Clark Fountain out of Greymouth on the Hughes Motors supported machine. Scott Hawkes up there from Fielding, ahead of Harry Parker out of Timaru. You'll hear that name as well. He's been double classing it here today. But it is the Blake and Thomas show who are watching. Shane the newbie in there, Zach Fuller, and in fact, as we looked at the split last time, I think it was Zach Fuller the fastest through split number 1. So the Kiwi Rider man there, supported well by Veg out of Kiwi Rider magazine, getting a very good 4th place ahead of Tarbin Walker out of Whanganui. So the swarm is on, the 5 riders, the slipstream going on there, and I bet you at the end of this one there's been a little touch of plastic or rubber to have gone on as well, because when you're that close together there's got to be a little bit of drama. As the 5 of them come through the double B and look to join up onto the circuit, they won't have too much trouble with worrying about adhesion in the corner as they go through there at their lesser speed. But in fact, Spider, my co-commentator from the previous rounds of the Nationals, he did some mathematical statistics and looked at just what the average speed was like for our Gixer Cup through the championship. And you're not talking it's not as if for the bikes that have only got what is around arguably a tenth of the horsepower. A super bike at 200 and these at 20, you've only got a tenth of the horsepower, but there's no way the times are anything like sort of 9/10 better than the tenth of the others. So they're doing very well, and I'm sure on this international circuit these guys will be holding a very good speed. So bring it on with our Suzuki Gixer Cup and the charge of the Light Brigade with those 5 again: Blake Ross, Thomas Newton, Shane Miller, Zach Fuller and Tarbin Walker.
Well, just looking on the cameras for the first time, there's just a slight split in this 5-way battle. The 2 in front have just managed to get a couple of bike links, and that's going to disrupt the drafting as they head up the top of the hill once again to complete lap number 2. And look at this, 3 of them get together now as they work their way down the front straight. They reach terminal velocity 34. Thomas Newton looking pretty racy, trying to go around the outside as they go into 1. I don't think that's going to work. It's a long way around that corner. We'll have to have a look as they come out along the back straight once again. Still the 5 of them back together again. Bit of a split, 3-2 this time. Last time round, the 2 of them got away, and then there's a great battle going on behind them. Jesse Stroud leading the next group with Scott Hawkes and Harry Parker. Clark Fountain in there as well, as you mentioned, Neil, all the way from the mighty West Coast. And then another bit of a split, and Michael Wilson, Braden Hobbin and Will Derby Hoffman there as well. So 3 races in 1 here. It's exciting stuff. Everyone, I know when it first came out, a lot of people poo-pooed it, said, what the hell are you doing with the 150s? You know, you don't want to do that. But look at the racing we've got. White flag out, 1 to go. They race to the flag. Who's it going to be? Will it be Pyro's Blake Ross? Is Tom Newton going to do enough?
The other factor I like about this one is these guys don't have to button off to go around the first corner. All the other classes, of course, you can hear them cackleback. These guys are just peeling into the corner. Start to watch their styles. Those Alpine Star leathers are starting to go right on the knee slider and through that corner. That is so good. And it's the cornering, of course, that is making these guys the champions of the future, and great to watch. 5 of them. As you said before, a couple have broken clear. Then all of a sudden we had 3 in a little gap, but that only gives a buffer for the others. The guys could learn a lot from slipstreaming. I'm picturing...
One's run a little bit wide. Is that going to cost him a spot? And I think that might have been Blake Ross, but hard to see from here as they head up the hill into the Porsche Dipper. No, they're all back together again. Brilliant stuff here in the Gixer Cup.
I don't want to be that man in front when we go on this final lap at this stage, but then on the other hand, the man back in third may be a little too far back. You got the guys are starting to break out the slipstream too early. You've literally got to be doing it the Foster's construction sign here and trying to get that jump on the corner, and maybe it's just the wheel in it or the depth of the tread of the Pirelli tyres on board. Man, it's so close.
Well, it is absolutely nose to tail as they work their way into the ITM Pirelli sweeper at the bottom end of the circuit. This is too close to call. Who's it going to be? Who's going to be the last of the big accelerators coming up? Who got the best drive out of that final corner? Will it be Blake Ross? Will it be Tom Newton? Will it be Shane Miller? Or will it be Zach Fuller? Or will it be Tarbin Walker? That's the 5. Oh, look at this 5. The chicken flag. Brilliant racing here. And I think it'll go to Zach Fuller. It does. By the slightest of margins, 0.063 of a second from Shane Miller. And look at the second bunch, just as close as well. Clark Fountain, Jesse Stroud and Scott Hawkes in there.
I presume by your comment before that you thought that Blake Ross, I think that might have been Thomas Newton, because all of a sudden he's the guy at the front of the pack. Both of those guys have dropped right back. Yeah. So I think whatever happened when you picked it up, that they drifted wide on that corner. The other 3 jumped into the advantage. Zach has gone from 4th place on the previous lap to 1st. That is mega. But to see that 5 wide, who's got the photo shot of that?